Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this computational BIM webinar with GRAPHISOFT. So basically, today we have a quite extensive program from the morning to the afternoon. Thank you for those who are joining us from different time zones. Probably the schedule will not reflect your timing, but we really appreciate the effort of joining us. So we would like to thank BCA for organizing this event together with us, especially to Pong. Thank you for arranging it. So basically today we're going to, the four of us, Mr. Chidambaram as the Director of Customer Success at GRAPHISOFT. I'm Marcelo Morim. I'm the Business Development Manager at GRAPHISOFT. Carlo is the BIM Implementation Manager at GRAPHISOFT. And we have today a special guest, always very, with always a lot of interesting content, Jorge Benitez from Enzyme. So the three of us, me, Chidam, and Carlo, are from GRAPHISOFT Singapore, and we're mostly supporting Singapore and Malaysia, even though we have a quite good presence in the Southeast Asia region. So today's session is actually the first one of a series of 4. So today will be about the design stage using this computational BIM to achieve the results that we want. So this is actually in line with the IDD workflow or strategy that BCA has been promoting for the last, I would say, a couple of years. So this first stage, digital design, is today. On the 13th of November, we'll have another session about digital fabrication. On the 26th of February next year, we'll have one session about digital construction. And on the 14th of May, we'll focus on the delivery and digital assets and FM. So as you can see, the bottom image is actually from the BCA website, so it's actually in line with their process. Okay, so in a glimpse, the agenda, what we have today. So in the first 1 hour, 15 minutes, I'll be going through what are the solutions that we're going through today, so that you have a context on how, why are we doing this way, and what is the GRAPHISOFT's policy, and what is GRAPHISOFT's strategy for the market. Then we will have a 15 minutes break, and at 11:30, so 1 hour and a half from now, roughly, Carlo will present PARAM-O. You will see soon what that is. So that will take us about 1.5 hours. And then we'll have the lunch break. And after the lunch break, actually here there's a, so at 2 p.m. Jorge will start with the Archicad connection, so we'll have 1 hour lunch break. So the RHINO Grasshopper Archicad connection, where it will show some of the completed projects, so an array of examples that you can have a look at. And then we will jump into a real-time exercise of a script done in RHINO, Grasshopper, and Archicad. Then we'll have a 15 minutes break, and then we'll see how Python inside Archicad is going to be presented by Carlo. The interesting thing is that these 3 sessions, so the PARAM-O session, the RHINO Grasshopper Archicad connection, and the Python, will be actually using the same exercise or the same object, the same project, so that you can see the seamless connection between these 3 solutions. Then we'll leave 15 minutes at the end for some Q&A and some wrap up. And that's when you can interact more with us. At the end of each session, if we have a few minutes left, we can also go through and see some questions that you might have along our presentations. Okay, so the first thing I would like to put into context for all of you is what is Graphisoft. So basically, Graphisoft is a Hungarian-funded company in 1982. So the first product that we came out with was Archicad in '84, and we were acquired by the Nemetschek Group in 2007. So this was a big change for us, and you will see why. Now globally, we're present in more than 100 countries. We have close to 100 distributors, and we have 11 direct subsidiaries. I would like to highlight, since this is a event done in Singapore, that in Singapore and Malaysia we are we're doing directly, so we have a subsidiary in Singapore. So talking a bit about Nemetschek, so since 2007, when we belong to this group, this is the biggest European AC and media, and the second biggest worldwide. And these are some brands that you might know from our array of softwares. So I would like to highlight Solibri as well, because we're representing Solibri in Singapore. You might also know Maxon with their cinema for the rendering solution. Then there's other tools like DRufus that does some space planning calculation. You might know Precast, you might know Allplan. So we're actually a quite strong group of solutions. Since 1984, when Archicad came out, our vision has always been a virtual building. So we bring common practices together to design and build virtually a building that will then be built in real life. So even if you look at Wikipedia, the first implementation of BIM happening worldwide was under the virtual building concept by Graphisoft's Archicad. So since the beginning, we always had this vision. We kept faithful to it, and we believe that this should be the way to work together. So what is our main product portfolio? We have a BIM authoring tool. This is Archicad. So this is where you generate the BIM model, where you decide to, where you make your design decisions. Then we have BIM Cloud. So BIM Cloud is our BIM data administration software. This basically allows a team of people, regardless where they are working from, to connect seamlessly to one file, to one project, and collaborate between each other. So this is our teamwork platform. So this is where we work as a team. Then we have BIM Data Access tool. This is called the BIMX. You can get this from the App Store or Google Play Store. And now it's also available as a web browser tool besides a desktop tool. They work sometimes a little bit different based on the platform that you're using it. And BIMX is the tool that allows us to access the BIM model and the drawings, the information, the documentation anywhere and anytime, because it runs on mobile platforms. So the key thing about these three tools is that they're always connected. Basically, you can be working with Archicad on the BIM cloud, then you can export a BIMX that you can be visualizing anytime, and you can message across the different users by using the BIM cloud system. Okay, diving a little bit deeper on each of our tools, we have Archicad, which is, as I mentioned, a tool that is used by different professionals on the AEC industry to design, document, and collaborate on building projects. The one important aspect here is that we run natively on Windows and Mac. So regardless of the platform that you're using, you can use this BIM tool. So I have this video here that is showcasing that Archicad is can be used from the very early design stage. So even if you start with a massing model, we can progressively keep editing the model from a mass to start replacing it with a few more construction elements like curtain walls, windows. So we have we can reach an array of broad shapes. We have very flexible tools. So while you're designing, you can edit the model quite easily. So this doesn't cripple your design freedom. You're not constrained by the tool to generate the shapes that you want. And also, due to our technology, you can actually design projects of any size inside Archicad. Okay, so these are actually some of the signature buildings done in Archicad. If you're a client, you would recognize these buildings from every issue of Archicad boxes. So this is Archicad 19. At the moment, we're on Archicad 24. Oh. Actually, that was Archicad 21. Okay, so let's see after this early design stage, what can be done. So you saw like how the massing, or there was a representation how the massing can be done. But when you have to jump into real BIM elements, Archicad allows you to customize and address any modular structure. If you're doing a curtain wall, you can have customizable patterns to any shape that you want. So this is actually like real-time modeling in Archicad. So this is the interface that you would have. You can design directly in 3D just by snapping to any shape or element, and we can have MEP systems. We can have the structural elements. So the structural and MEP are integrated within the tool, so that you can generate the building with all the building elements that you need to document your project. And the third tool that I presented to you is the BIMX. So BIMX is for interactive presentations and coordination with clients. And we have here a testimonial of one of our clients on how they use BIMX to disrupt the presentations.
The BIMX solution has enabled our designs to break free of the confines of the desktop and even of the studio itself. Now we're able to have the entire rich 3D model literally in our pockets, which is fun. We put it on the iPad Pro. We could take it to all of our construction sites. We can upload it to a cloud. Our entire coordination team can download that. These are folks who can engage our design, structural engineers, expediters, general contractors, even real estate salespeople. It enables them to engage the design in a much more visually rich way, in ways where they wouldn't have read plans before, they wouldn't have unrolled our giant drawings before, we would have had the email attachments of a rendering, but now they have any angle, any view at their fingertips.
Okay, so this shows you how everyone is empowered to access and to navigate in a BIM model and access their information. So this is exactly why GRAPHISOFT has created such a powerful tool. So now the last one is BIM Cloud. Basically, it allows any kind of network, any hardware configuration to connect teams, being on a local area network or being on the World Wide Web, working together and in an integrated way. So basically, this allows you to collaborate from anywhere in the world. You can have someone doing model changes, and you will be able to retrieve those model changes in your file. So basically, our ecosystem is made out of these solutions. Today, we will focus mostly on the highlighted solutions, so Archicad, RHINO, Grasshopper connection. So besides these three solutions, Archicad, BIMX, and BIM Cloud, we won't be focusing on BIMX and BIM Cloud at this moment. In the next sessions, the next 3 sessions, we'll be able to touch on that. Then we have other solutions, as I mentioned before, Solibri for regulatory approvals and rule-based model checking. We have a live connection with Twinmotion for real-time render animations and virtual reality. So besides the computational design from RHINO, today we'll talk about the Python inside Archicad and PARAM-O, which is a newly released tool inside Archicad. So this will be our focus today. So let's dig a little bit deeper on what are these solutions. So the RHINO Grasshopper Archicad connection has been released since Archicad 18. It can be used for design analysis, parametric design. We can test various design iterations. We can do generative design and any design optimization that you would like to do to your file. Then we have PARAM-O, which as just released, allows us to create parametric objects that will then become library elements. And this is done with node-based similar to metric design tools, where you just put all the nodes and connect the nodes with different components. This is having increasing features. So this is an early release, and with this release, you already can do a lot of things, but we are equipping this solution with more and more features so that you can have access to them. Then we have a live preview inside PARAM-O. So every time that you're generating your script, you can see a preview of what is being generated. So in case something is not matching what you expected it to happen, this would the live preview would immediately allow you to spot that issue. And the last one, Python with Archicad. I think for those who are familiar with Python, you already know what this means. So this opens a whole new world of documentation automation and even processes inside Archicad that can be automated. So if you want to, if you have a very repetitive task that you want it to be done by the push of the button, you can customize your scripts. You can use ready-made scripts that are already generated by Graphisoft. So you can go to our website and download them. And again, similar to PARAM-O, the commands and the reachability of this tool is being constantly increased so that you can more and more control the software with this technology. Okay, so now let's look into RHINO Grasshopper Archicad. So our idea here was to connect the best-in-class design tool and analysis tool with our BIM tool. So basically, RHINO is a free-form modeling tool. It doesn't have a specific discipline or a specific application worldwide. It can be used for anything, from product to animation to building. Then inside RHINO, we can run Grasshopper, which is their algorithmic design tool. And instead of Graphisoft developing our own algorithmic design tool, we decided to team up with RHINO and Grasshopper so that we can connect this powerful BIM authoring tool with this strategy. And this doesn't enable us only to take advantage of the power of Grasshopper. It allows us to take advantage of all the tools that are constantly being developed for Grasshopper, such as Ladybug, Galapagos, or even Kangaroo. So there's loads of scripts, loads of materials online. We believe that this is the most commonly used algorithmic design tool. So we decided to tap heavily on this kind of resources. So today, Jorge will really show you how this is being done. So I have here a short video showing us how this works together, these three types of technologies. So we have the freeform modeling tool here. We have Grasshopper that has all these triggers and nodes that can be connected to each other. So each trigger, each node will generate an action. So we're seeing here how quickly, as a concept, how this script is controlling Grasshopper on the bottom left side of the screen, and that Grasshopper geometry is being pushed into Archicad. So we have these curves that are being divided in points. Those points are having the columns that are connected by the two curves, the bottom and the top curve. And we have beams that go along these curves. Okay, so this allows us, this quite simple example, to see how these three tools are actually constantly talking to each other. I have another example here on how this is a end result that you can see from that you can use this kind of technologies combined to do a sun study where the building will react how the building will react to this to the sun position. So the panels will move into this or related to that. We can do, besides this kind of optimization, we can actually get the structure sorted inside RHINO, Grasshopper, and Archicad. So as you can see, these objects, they move because they have they were parametrically generated inside Archicad in a way that they could be manipulated by RHINO and Grasshopper. The structure is being generated also by using the script. So we can choose what type of connections we will have, how many, what will be the grid for our structural. Then we can see that this RHINO NURBS definition allows us to optimize the panels that we want to have into our model. Then by bringing it to Archicad, we can later on document this building in floor plan, sections, elevations, and even achieve quantities, for example, getting the schedules of building elements, and all this without having to use, super powerful computing power. So standard computer can run this. So for example, this file is only 13 megabytes. So this is an example done by our clients and partners from Archiradar in Italy. So where can we access this kind of technologies? So if you want to download RHINO, and when you get RHINO, you get Grasshopper because it runs inside Grasshopper. It runs inside RHINO, sorry. You can just access rhino3d.com and you can download. They have a 90-day trial. I think it's good enough to test the potential and the possibilities of the software. So you either reach this website, or you can use the QR code I put on the right side of this slide, so that you can access directly this link, so you can register and download the trial version or the evaluation version. Then you would also need to have Archicad installed so that you can run the connection between the three softwares. So here again, you can go to graphisoft.com/tryarchicad and download a 30-day fully functional trial version of Archicad. And you can use also the QR code to scan and to access this link. And lastly, you need to install the connection between the three softwares. So since this has been running for the last few years, so we have it available since Archicad 18. In the beginning, the first 2 years, 18 and 19, we could only run it on Windows side because there was not RHINO available for Mac. But since Archicad 20 connection, since 2017, we have it available for Mac, and it's building up. It's still RHINO for Mac is not as powerful as for Windows, but it's building up and getting quite closer to it. So another thing I would like to highlight here is that you can only have the connection between one version of Archicad and one version of RHINO. So if you have multiple versions of Archicad installed in your machine, and multiple versions of RHINO installed in your machine, you can't connect between all of them. You have to have it installed only one at a time. Okay, so again, you can go to the downloads, add-ons, interoperability, and RHINO inside our Graphisoft website, or you can scan this link or this QR code, and it will bring you to this link where you can download this information, this link or this connection. So what will happen when you install the connection? On Grasshopper side, you will have this tab here that will allow you to access all the tools, settings, different inputs, different parameters that you can reach from Archicad side. So you can see here that from all this script that we have placed below here, we have viewpoints that are coming from Archicad, we have favorites that are coming from Archicad, we have a slab and a wall that will be generated in Archicad, another slab that will be generated in Archicad, and columns that will be generated in Archicad. So the concept is that you develop your script, and then in the end, you choose what kind of tool rating inside our Archicad model. Okay, inside Archicad, what will we have? So we'll have to open the file drop-down menu. Then under interoperability, we will have the Archicad connection, and basically this the Grasshopper connection, and basically this Grasshopper connection will open this palette that will tell you which file you are connected to. So in this case, it even shows me the path of the file where it's been saved and the name of it. We can anytime choose to break the connection, so we don't want it to be actively thinking or checking on Grasshopper side if there's any changes, because this might slow down a bit the performance of your machine. You can choose to click to send changes. So if you have something on Archicad side that is triggering some action on Grasshopper, you can click this button to send the changes. You can choose to unlock Grasshopper elements. So by default, elements that come from Grasshopper will be locked in Archicad because it assumes that we want to change the elements through Grasshopper. But if we want to change the elements natively inside Archicad, we can just unlock the elements, let's say beams, columns, slabs, and then we can edit them inside Archicad. Then we can choose to select, a curve or a slab or columns or multiple elements inside Archicad. And if we want to find them where they are being scripted on Grasshopper side, we can just click on it, and this will bring us to the file that is, or to the part of the file or the part of the script where they are being generated from. Okay, so in summary, why did we came up with this? So this is actually a graphic design by Jacob Anderson. He was the BIM manager of a big BIG architectural firm in Europe, in Denmark. And they actually were early adopters of this technology with Graphisoft, and they help us develop it. So basically, when you have a traditional workflow, you would have a detached design phase from a BIM phase. And in this case, what would happen is you would have to stop your design changes up to a certain point so that you could go into the BIM authoring tool, have that design as a reference, and keep building the BIM model so that you could deliver your model, your documentation, all your information that is pulled from here. But with this kind of integrated workflow of having RHINO, Grasshopper, and Archicad working together, what you can do is you can stretch the design phase all the way, almost to the end of the BIM phase, where your BIM elements are being generated with your script, and that those files or those actions will be constantly in talks with each other, and all your information, all your documentation will be automatically generated. So this, as a result, allows you to keep optimizing your design up to a later stage of the of your project timeline. Plus, you can save time because you don't need to do the two stages separately. You can actually start your BIM phase earlier, and this allows you to most likely finish the project in an earlier timeline. So as you can see, there's loads of benefits in adopting this new integrated strategy. So in case you want to find out more, besides this workshop, this webinar, you can access other online webinars. In this case, we have on our GRAPHISOFT, we have one specific webinar about the introduction of this technology, how in detail how this will work. You can either access it through our website, or you can scan this QR code that would bring you there. We also have in our YouTube page, this is the global GRAPHISOFT YouTube page. We have more than 20 exercises that you can follow. So this was actually how I also learned this connection. You can actually have the video of these exercises. You stop and play, and you can follow them in your computer. These are normally between 20 to 20 something minutes, between 10 to 20 something minutes, and you can very easily follow them and see how they work. So either you go to the Archicad YouTube page, or you can scan this QR code that will bring you there. So being said all this about the RHINO Grasshopper connection, let's jump into PARAM-O. We are very excited with this new solution, with this new tool that comes inside Archicad. So if you go to our website, you can download this connection. At the moment, it's only available for Windows. So we just had Archicad released a bit over a month ago, and we're working on releasing the Mac version. So for the Mac users, just be a bit more patient. It's coming soon. And as you can see from here, it's quite similar to what I've been showing from Grasshopper side. So we have an array of inputs. So these different boxes that you see here, they can be connected to generate the geometry that we want and to generate the different actions that we want. Carlo will talk more in detail about this when he's going to show you an exercise. And if you want to see the link or the page that brings you to this, just scan the QR code that I have attached to this slide here. So basically, this is a node-based parametric modeling or design tool. So this allows us to edit objects based on a group of nodes that will become accessible from the user side inside Archicad. So basically, the users, you can have two different approaches to this. You can have someone creating the objects. So if they understand more about this node-based editing, you can have someone creating the objects with this kind of technology, and they need to understand how this works. But a normal user on Archicad side would just have to know how to go to the object settings and then change the parameters that are created here. So this would actually create a fully compatible parametric native library objects for Archicad. So I have here a video that showcases quickly an exercise about this. So this is how you can place a node. You can see that we can name the node. We can say what is the starting point of the values that we want to use. We can say what is the interval of the elements that we're going to use. In this case, this exercise is showing the rebars that we can place inside a beam or a column. And the user in this case is grabbing these 6 nodes and saying that these nodes will be the user parameters that they can be changed. So now they decided, okay, we also want to change the pen and we also want to change the surface. So we will choose what kind of surface we want to use for this rebars, and then you connect these 2 nodes to the relevant elements that should be represented with that pen or with that surface. So you see that once they are connected, that gray surface that was chosen by the user is the one that becomes connected to the element. So we can then, double check everything. So what is the radius of the edges? What is the distancing? And once we bring in this object, this can be placed just by going to the object library. You can see here, and all these 8 parameters that we were choosing here, with the width, the height, the spacing, the pen, everything can be controlled normally from the user having as much knowledge on how. So this really allows, if you're a BIMer, if you're the person in charge of generating the most used objects in your office, you can actually optimize the scripts and optimize the objects for them to be used by the rest of the team, and the rest of the team doesn't need to have as much knowledge to handle this. Okay, the last example I wanted to bring over to you here is the Python script. So this Python inside Archicad allows you to automate a lot of processes that could be very tedious and very time consuming in your practice. We're in 2020 and we want computers and the technology to ease a lot of repetitive tasks to us. So using this Python connection to Archicad, we can run any script that is generated to Python and use them to control Archicad tasks. So if you want to access this page, scan this link, and you can see where you can access some of this information. So when you install this connection, you would go to the Python palette inside Archicad, and it will tell you the steps on how you do this. First, you need to install the Python on your machine. Then it will, just by clicking the install connection, it will install this connection. And then you would have the palette that you see on the right side, where you can load the scripts into this palette. And then you just need to click run, and it will run those scripts inside Archicad. So again, you can access them by using this QR code. So to help trying and implementing this technology, Graphisoft has made available a few scripts on our website. So these are ready to go scripts. You can just, after you install this Python connection, you can just use these scripts to test and optimize some of the tasks. So for example, you want to number the zones on a floor plan, and you want to number them according to some sequence. So the script, we have a script called zone numbering there that you can just click to run it, and it will go through your floor plan, and it will number the script in a counterclockwise order. So your spaces will be automatically numbered. So in case you delete 1 or 2 spaces, or you add 1 or 2 spaces, you click to run the script, and you will go and renumber all the spaces all over again. So this is a good example of repetitive tasks that can be automated by using this kind of technology. So I have here a couple of examples. They will just take a few seconds. So I'd like to draw your attention here to the Python palette. So you can see that we have a script called room report generator. So once you'll see when we click this script, you will see that once you run it, Python will read this, it will open Excel, and you will see that the 3 spaces that we had on the floor plan actually generate a list of areas and naming, the number of what equipment you have on that room, what are the comfort requirements in terms of temperature, how much light the space should have, what is the net space area and volume. So all this information that normally you would have to, bring it or export it from Archicad space by space, we can actually generate a script. And in case you're not happy with the formatting that this would generate, you can tweak the script, you can edit it. So you just need to have some Python knowledge to see how this is done. And we believe also that, in terms of community, these kind of solutions will be done and shared across the Archicad users. So another example that we have is instead of being just focused on the model elements. So before we showed a script based on model elements like the zones, we can use this script, for example, to take every unused item on your view map. So the views that you have not used to place on layouts to document your project, you want to find them, to delete them or to archive them. You can run this script. And as you can see here, just by clicking run, on the right side, you can see that he has created a folder called unused views, and he has placed all these different elements into, or all these different views into that folder. So in case you want to delete them or you want to archive them, this is quite easy to be done. Here, obviously, we can go and edit the Python script to make it do exactly, put them on specific folder with a specific name, or even with another rule that we would like to highlight here. Okay, so being said this, I have pretty much covered the basics of these 3 tools. So I would like to bring your attention to this kind of content that we're generating also today here. So we have been, from this working from home stage, we have been actively generating this Graphisoft SG Facebook page, YouTube page. We also have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn page, and you can reach us there. These contents will go to the YouTube page. So we have some webinars there. We also have weekly webinar that is called Archicad Now, and we're posting there the sessions that we've been having. So if you scan this QR code and you subscribe and activate the notifications, you can access this content. Most of the times, you can follow the sessions like we're gonna do today by playing the videos, and then on the side you do this parallelly. So I entice you to follow us in social media soon. So on the 27th of August, we'll have our digital event called Experience Archicad 24. So this is our local launch of Archicad 24, where we cater it to the local market needs, where we address the content that was created so that our users can be more identified with the content that we're showing. So we'll have the pleasure of having Ian Lander and Catherine Look from Lander Look. They are from a small but very powerful integrated practice, and they will show how they take advantage of integrated and multidisciplinary modeling in their BIM models so that they can coordinate their projects before going to site. So you can register for this event, just scan this QR code, or go to the link that you see on the bottom of this slide to register for it. This will be a roughly 2-hour event in a couple of weeks' time. I would say that even if you had attended the previous Building Together event from Graphisoft, this will add value on top of that, and you can see a local example on how these things are being done. Okay, so now putting into perspective the workflow of what we're going to do today. So basically, Carlo, after my presentation, will go through creating on PARAM-O a native Archicad object that will later be manipulated by Grasshopper. So with this object, Jorge from Enzyme will create a script with a logic to place all these elements on the Archicad BIM model. So it will manipulate the BIM model and it will manipulate this object that was created in PARAM-O. So we'll be guiding us through this script here. And Carlo will generate the code with the logic for the auto labeling of the placed elements on Archicad BIM model. So as you can see, this is a very time-consuming task and repetitive. So we are going to use the script to help us go through this. So workflows goal is not for you to follow like at the same time we're seeing this presentation. The idea is for you to have this webinar so the recording will be later shared and provided on YouTube. So you can follow this workflow in case you want to do it, by running a video on a screen and doing it on another screen. But the concept is to show how these three technologies can be used together, and you can take advantage of the strengths of each one of them. So even if in some case the script on Archicad on RHINO Grasshopper Archicad side could generate the logic for the labels, probably if we do it in Python, this will be more optimized, and you don't need to have as many nodes, or you don't need to have such a complex script inside RHINO and Grasshopper. So going through this part of the presentation, I would like to give you the contacts of everyone from the team. So we have the email from Enzyme. So feel free to contact us for any query. We have here Chidam's email, my email, and Carlo's email, and you can always reach us at graphisoft.com.sg. We have our contacts there. So now before going to the break, I would like to show you just the basics on starting the RHINO Grasshopper connection, and guide you through the very basics of placing the nodes for you to see how this technology works. Okay, so I have here on the background Archicad already open. I have this file that it hasn't been saved yet. And I would need to open RHINO. So you see here, by opening RHINO, I can choose, let's say I want to use a certain template. And for me to run Grasshopper, I just need to type Grasshopper on the command line inside RHINO. And actually, in case I want, I don't even need to have RHINO's palette or window open. So I can just have it on the background, because this is how what I need to run Grasshopper. We can choose to run, some of these getting started with Grasshopper scripts. We can watch some tutorials. We can understand how this technology works. I will skip this because I will show you some of the things. Also, when you log in, you will have a group of previously used files that we have recently opened. Then you can see here in Grasshopper, I haven't started yet any file or anything. You can see here all the different triggers and different nodes that we can have. And because I have the RHINO Grasshopper connection installed, I have immediately the Archicad palette available inside Grasshopper. So for me to start a new file, I just need to double click somewhere on the canvas or and write something. Let's say I choose here a slider with a value of 10, and immediately it has created a file called unnamed. If I want to save this one and give it a name, I can choose, okay, I want to do Grasshopper example. So you see now the file is called Grasshopper example. If I want to go to Archicad and connect to this file, I'll just go under File, Interoperability, and under the Grasshopper connection, I can choose to start the connection. And you see that immediately it sees that I'm connected to this file that is under the desktop and with the name Grasshopper example. Okay, at the moment I'm not doing anything. Let's say that I had, for example, these lines here that would be, my project's site, and it would be, the building that I would want to generate from here. So by clicking here, I can choose to generate these lines. And if I want to go now to Grasshopper and control it, let me try to put these two windows together. Hide the navigator. So this way I can have both of them shown in the screen. So in case I want to have this this curve inside Grasshopper, what I need to go is I need to come here and say that I want a curve, and actually I'm going to use this Archicad 2D curve. So you see that they're different. One is saying it's a 2D curve, and the other one is creating a Grasshopper curve. So even if you have an Archicad curve that you collect, it's good to connect it to convert it into a Grasshopper curve so that you can do all the Grasshopper actions to it. So I will take this curve here. So once it is selected on the Archicad side, I can just right click here and say set one to the curve in Archicad. And you see now this trigger becomes gray. Becoming gray means that it has information. It has captured this information. So this can be used now inside our script. So we have this curve now here, and for me to make this curve an Archicad curve or a Grasshopper curve, I just need to take this trigger and connect it to there. Okay, so now what do I want to do to this curve? Let's say that I would like to place walls. Right, so I would go here under the design, and either I choose a wall tool and I just drag it and put it here. So I can say that this curve will generate walls, and immediately in Archicad, I would have the walls placed here. Okay, so this shows you how simple we can have this manipulated by the script. And let's say I would like to have let's say I would like to have on this script also connected to a wall slab. So I place a slab, and the same curve, the same polygon would actually also place a slab inside Archicad. And in case I would like this wall to be a specific wall, so let's say I want it to be this structural wall, or if this slab, we wanted to make it a specific slab, let's say I want a structural slab, we can actually go inside this Grasshopper script and choose, for example, the favorite input. And I choose that I want a certain favorite for this slab settings. And I choose from the wall favorites, no, but from the slab favorites. I would choose the structural slab. So the moment I change it, it will change in my model. Same thing can be done here with the walls. So I'll choose a structural wall here, and I can just connect it to the settings. So all these actions can be done, very quickly like this. So in case, let's say you would another curve. Let's say I choose here another type of curve. Let's say we have another building element, or for some reason we bought the next plot, or the client wants to have a totally different shape. Now, if I want to adjust my geometry to that, the only thing I have to do is here set this other curve as the Archicad curve, and immediately the whole shape will be changed to a totally different shape. Okay, then we can perform like many other actions to it. I don't want to go through like very specific details here. If I want to take this curve and then just place another element on top of this, we can just say that we want to move it on the Z vector. Then we want to move it. So I want to say that this curve here, and I have this number slider, let's say it's going to move in this direction. Okay, so we can check here. And then we want to generate a slab here. So you can see by moving the slider now here, I'm moving it 10 meters, 7 meters. So I can actually choose to adjust just by using this slider. I can use to adjust this geometry. So if I wanted to make a copy or something, I could actually do that. So it's quite simple to manipulate the script from this side. And also, as I mentioned before, you have other tools like Kangaroo that actually allows you to have gravity into your model. So you can choose many different commands from here. If you want to do some run Galapagos, basically this Galapagos will do many design iterations to find a way to solve your design. Let's say you had a facade that you would like to have it shaded up to, I don't know how much percentage of it, you can actually run these kind of solvers to reach out to those kind of values. So basically, well, I can do a little bit more scripting here. We have some time left until the break. Well, if you want to divide, for example, a certain curve, and we want to place, so if I want to divide into a number of, I don't know, 20. So I want to divide this curve, and then from these points that will be generated here, I want to place the columns for this design. So I choose here a column, and these points will generate my anchor point for the columns. And as you can see here, let me move the slab down. As you can see here, I have just generated the columns for this curve. Immediately they become visible on the floor plan. And again, if I want to change the settings on the column, either we bring in parameter settings for the columns, where we choose all the parameters here. Oh, sorry. So the settings are from here. So either I bring in the column settings here, where I have all these settings that I can choose. For example, I want the building material to be, I don't know, let's choose reinforced concrete structural. I want the depth, so I can either set the number, let's say I choose 0.3, and then another one. So if I want it square, I can actually even make it the two dimensions of the column. So if when I increase it here, is increasing both dimensions. If I want them to have separate, I do another one here, so 0.3. So I will just go and connect this one. And we can always name the slider. So I call it column width. Okay. Column depth. Okay, so we can choose this slider here, so that the same way as I've shown with PARAM-O, we can actually make this available for the users to see how this can be done. We can then choose, let's say, rotation angle. We can say that we want the column to rotate according to the angle of the wall. So there's many things that can be done here on the script. What I wanted to do is to open these possibilities to you and see how this geometry can be used or by you, and this technology can be used by you. So I think I would wrap up my session here. If someone has questions, we still have 7 to 8 minutes. So I would like to open up for discussion. You can see Chidam has been kindly helping us with answering some of the questions. So in case someone has some question they would like to address to me, just let me know.
Yeah, can I add a bit?
Yes, sure.
On the debugger. So I did mention that IDE can help to debug, which is kind of like not a correct information, but I shared a YouTube video later showing how you can debug a Python script. Yeah. So this Python script debugging is a bit different from the rest of the things. Check out the video, and there is also a lot of online materials about debugging Python scripts.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Chidam. So I hope that this was is really like the simplest I could explain about this. So this will give us the basis for us to understand the rest of the sessions that we have today. So we can make now a break. In this case, will be a 20-minute break. So let's be back here for at 11:30 to see Carlo presenting to us PARAM-O and seeing how we can use this kind of technology. Okay, so
Maslow, just a minute. For further question there is on the debugging. Junhan Lo was asking. He's talking about debugging Python in Archicad. Basically, when we do the Python coding, it is not done inside Archicad. Later, Carlo will be sharing, so that will help you to understand. So it is not inside Archicad. Python is done separately outside. You can use any Python scripting IDE tools to do that, and then you can actually run it inside Archicad. So Archicad allows you to run the Python scripts written outside. Yeah, right. So hope that answer your question. Thanks, Maslow. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that with this now we can go to the break and see you guys soon at 11:30 for Carlos lunch for joining us today. Hi Jorge, are you getting ready? Okay, so let me just this one here.
Yes, for Stella, Stella. Yeah, you can use any tool to write the Python script. Yeah, and it will run. Yeah.
Yeah, basically you're loading the script that was done somewhere else, you know,
Yep.
that was done, and you use it to manipulate Archicad. I think Stella is really keen on starting you to use that.
Oh, understand.
I'll come over. I have to come over one of these days. Well, come over doesn't work because no, everyone is working from home. Let's do an online session on that. Chandra is asking, no Python shell inside Archicad. Do you understand what it means with Python shell, Chidam?
Inside it runs the Python script. You can see the console. You can see the results. I think it's in build, if I'm understand correctly. But for coding purpose, there is no interface for you to do the coding, right? So Archicad has this add-on that has the option to run the Python script and console also. That means it has the Python shell inside Archicad. And Ralph, maybe you can add together. Ralph, our developer, is also in this chat. He can add in, yeah. So yeah, Ralph said there is no Python shell inside Archicad. Yeah, it's just a palette.
Okay. I didn't even understand that.
It is something like something to I don't know how to explain. Also, maybe Ralph, maybe better
Well,
to explain.
he's saying that Python palette is just a visualization interface.
Just to run, yeah. What we have inside Archicad is just to run, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
so
that.
It uses things from outside, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Python code is executed outside of Archicad. Yes.
So if you want to do debugging inside Archicad, as I mentioned, you can actually use print functions, and then it will print inside the Archicad palette, where you have a console, right? And you can see the results in there. Then you can actually see the debugging result. Yeah. Thanks, Ralph, for the answer. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes, Siddham?
Yes, Kalu, can hear you.
Okay, sure. Just to double check. So I think we should start now. Hello, everyone. So my name is Carlo Rivero. I'm a lead BIM consultant, customer success at GRAPHISOFT Singapore, Malaysia. So I'm here to show a demo on how to use PARAM-O, all the basics like user interface, function, and basic commands that you can use during your parametric modeling using PARAM-O. Okay. First thing you need to do is to log in to our SSA website. Basically, this is for SSA user only. Then after that, you need to download the PARAM-O 3.2. So the release note is July 7, 2020. But apparently it's only available for Windows because this is only a technology preview. But of course, we're still working on the Mac OS. Okay, then the third step would be copying the APX file. So in our website, we do have installation instruction guide that you could follow. But actually, basically, it's just copy pasting the APX file inside your Archicad add-on folders, and then run it. Okay, so for the PARAM-O, so we do have documentation inside. So we have the reference guide, node documentation, so everything is properly documented. Just please visit our help center website. So what is PARAM-O? Okay, PARAM-O, as mentioned by Marcelo, so PARAM-O is a node-based technology. It is a bit similar to Grasshopper and Dynamo. This is actually for object creation inside Archicad. So what are the features of PARAM-O? So PARAM-O is a full node-based parametric content creation. It has a live preview of final object during creation, and it saves the result as a parametric object. And of course, you can define pen. Pen is like line weight in Archicad, surfaces material, some basic shapes, mathematical operations, etc. Okay, so what are the technical details of PARAM-O? So before I start, I'll let you share the technical details of PARAM-O. So PARAM-O is object or is stored in the object, stored in the embedded libraries, sorry. Then PARAM-O script is stored in the new library part section. So created objects are usable without installed PARAM-O add-on. That means you can share the .gsm file without using this, without installing these PARAM-O add-ons. Okay, so again, this is a technology preview available on Windows only. Okay, so let's talk about the user interface. Okay, so where can you find the PARAM-O? So just go to the library and object. There you can see the PARAM-O manager and the editor. So we have two categories here. One is the PARAM-O manager, which you can manage your object. Later I'll discuss more on that. Then we have another one, which is the new PARAM-O object, which is the editor. So first, let's talk about the editor. So here, when you open up the PARAM-O, on your left side, you can see that all the available nodes is there. Then on your middle, that is the editor canvas. This is where you will start your design of the object. Then on your right side, that is the live preview, so that you could visually check what's going on your script. Okay. So again, this is how it looks like. Later, I'm going to do a live demo, a very basic live demo, how to use PARAM-O. Let's go through with the node first. Let's start with parameters. For those really new to Archicad. It's a bit tough to catch up, but I will try my best to explain it more simple. For example, parameters. Here, this is one of the very basic node of PARAM-O. So this is the three major dimension inside Archicad, which is the dimension one, like width, length, and height. So we can use this one. So in relation to Archicad, the PARAM-O is on your left, Archicad is on your right. So if you use this dimension 1, 2, and the height, if you go to the object settings, you will see this inside Archicad. So again, for those really new in Archicad, this is where you could find this dimension. Okay, it's here. Dimension 1 is here, dimension 2 is this one, and the height is this one. Okay, so consider this when you create object. It is good to use these three major dimension, especially if you want to resize your object. Later I'll show you how to use it. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, shape. So inside PARAM-O nodes, we have the basic shapes. Okay, we have block, cylinder, cone, sphere, elbow, wedge, prism, extrude. These are the basic shapes you will probably need during your object creation. Okay, so next one would be inputs. So again, this is very basic, but for those who don't know about inputs, so we have this Boolean. Boolean is true or false. So we have a basic integer, number, random number, length, and angle. I think this is very basic to you guys, but again, the next node will be the same as the input, but this one is a list. So for example, integer series, we have number series, random series, number distribution. So basically, yeah, this is the same as the input, but it comes with the series. Series means it follows a logical rule. So that means you have an option to set the step and the counts. Okay, that's the difference between the list, the input, and the list input. Okay, so again, for those new in Archicad, we have these attributes here. For example, pen. In other software, you call it like line weight. Okay, so here we call it pen. Then we have surfaces and profiles. Okay, surfaces is used for 3D if you want to apply materials. Okay. And next one would be, okay, let me explain first what is surface. This is again for those who are really new. So PARAM-O is on your left, and then Archicad is on your right. So if you edit the node inside these surfaces, okay, you will see this node name and create parameters. So PARAM-O gives you an option to show it as parameter inside Archicad. If you say true here, then these custom settings will be shown. Okay, if you don't if you change this one to false, then this one will be grayed out. So later I'll show you how this one works. Then of course you need to create the parameter name. If you assign the parameter name, then it will goes here. Okay, it will give you a custom settings to adjust your, for example, box material. Okay, then of course the material is here. Okay, so later we will practice this. Okay, the next one would be point inputs. Okay, so point inputs basically just a line and a point. Grids also can be a points and arc. Okay, next is transformation. This node is very useful. You will use it most of the time during your parametric modeling. So we have the move, we have the rotate X, we have rotate Y, rotation Z, and scale, and you could also actually combine the node here. Okay, so we have this dedicated shape transformation. So this is basically dedicated for the shapes. Okay, so we can transform the shape, move the shape, rotate the shape X, rotate shape Y, rotate the set value, and scale. Okay, so we have lots of options here to play around. Okay, so again, we have this mathematical operation. So we have the basic one. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication. This is all self-explanatory. So we also have this condition like greater than, less than, or equal, etc. Okay, for those who likes trigonometry, we have this sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay. Then next one would be solid operation. So we have this union, difference, and intersection. So let me discuss what is union. So this is very similar to merge. If you want to merge two objects, then you can use this union. Okay, if you want to subtract, you can use this difference. That means you have two geometry and you want to subtract, as you can see in the icon. Okay, this is a bit similar to void in Revit, and in 3D Max also we have this. Okay, so intersection, okay, it will just give you the intersected object. Then what happened here, it will remove all the non-intersected object. Okay, that is solid operation. Yep, extra. So this is a bit interesting. So I think this one is still under experimental, but for those hardcore GDL programmer there, actually you can still do the scripting here inside. You can even call the object. Okay, again, this is for the advanced user. So you can use this GDL object and you can call existing parameter inside Archicad, I mean inside the object. Okay, later I'll show you this one. Then GDL shape, this is the one that I mentioned that you could, you have the option to create shape using the scripting GDL. Okay, and we have this viewer. I haven't used this viewer, but let's see. Okay, so we have this, the next topic would be on the editor canvas. So this is the basic settings navigation. So basically you just need to right click the node. For example, here, if you want to disconnect the connection, for example, the height to set size, you just need to right click and then it will give you this option to disconnect. Okay, so we have this option to disconnect one node only, or you have the option to disconnect all. Okay, so this is the basic node settings or navigation. Again, if you want to modify the node settings, just right click this block, the blue bar on top, and it will give you a different settings, which is the node settings. You could copy the nodes, delete, and of course grouping. Okay, we will practice this one later during the live demo. Okay, so in the editor canvas, again, editor canvas is the place you will place your node or create your object. Okay, it is a best practice to rename and group your node for easy reference. Okay, so for those who have background in Dynamo and Grasshopper, they normally group the nodes so that they can easily reference it. Okay, here we have this option to group it. Okay, so if you want to go to the settings, just double click the node and it will give you this node naming. Okay, if you double click this node, it will give you this dialog box to rename. So I suggest you always rename and then group it. Okay, so lastly, we have this node settings here. If you click the node settings, it will give you this dialog box again. So again, node name, of course, you have the option to show the visibility to on and off. Okay, you have the option to on and off visibility. Again, pen assignments, or pen or line weight in other software. So you can always change it here. Okay. So here on your right, this is the live preview. Okay, so whatever you do here in the editor canvas, it will be reflected here dynamically. Okay, so we have a very few options here. If you right click, you only have reset view, fit to window, and settings. So if you click the settings, it will give you this dialog box, and then it will ask you if you want to show the grid or if you want to turn it off. Okay, and then you could actually adjust the grid cells and the counts. Okay, this is optional, but if you ask me, I prefer to see the grids. Okay, so lastly, we have this option below the screen, which is it gives me an option to run automatically, or you want to run manually. So this is the same principle same function in Dynamo. If you have a very complex code, then you should option to choose manual to save memory. Okay. Then, of course, the last part, if you click this OK, it will give you a pop-up dialog saying you successfully created an object. Okay. Yep. So again, so this is the second part, which is the PARAM-O manager. This is where you manage all the object. Okay, we will try this one later, but just to quickly give you an overview. Okay, so once you create an object, it will be placed here. Okay, and then of course you can create new. You could you have the option to duplicate, rename, delete, of course edit. Okay, then down here on your bottom left corner, we have the option to import and export. Okay, so this is the import and the export. Because here in PARAM-O, you can actually save a native file, which is .pr and something. Then you could actually import here and then edit. Okay, let's try that one later. Okay, so yep, that's it for the interface for both PARAM-O editor and the manager. Okay, so let me switch my screen and open up my Archicad 24. Okay, can you see my screen? Yep, just to check.
Yep,
Okay.
can see your Archicad screen.
Yeah, thank you, Chidam. So again, I'm using Archicad 24. This is the latest version we have. Okay, let's go to File. So this is where you can find the PARAM-O. Let's go to Object, Libraries and Object, and down here you will see the PARAM-O. Of course, you need to follow the step-by-step instruction how to install the add-ons. Okay, so let's assume that I already installed the add-ons. So I can now see the PARAM-O manager and the PARAM-O object. Okay, if you want to create a new object, you could actually straight away go to new PARAM-O object. Let's try. Okay, so it gives me another window, which is this one. Okay, so let me try the PARAM-O manager. I will close this one just to give you a comparison. Okay, so when I open this library and objects, now I will try to open up a PARAM-O manager. Okay, so we have this PARAM-O manager. I have the option to create a new one or load existing PARAM-O file. Let's try to load first just to show you. Okay, so the extension name of PARAM-O is, the file name is PARAM-O. Okay, we have this one here. If I click and then I could just open it. Then I have the option to click and edit. So later we will try this one, but for the meantime, I'm going to show you the basics, the very basic of PARAM-O. Okay, let's create a new one. Okay, so I have this empty canvas again. This is the location of the nodes up here. So as you can see, we have the parameters. We have this little drop down arrow. Let me minimize everything so that you could see all the list of nodes here. Okay, as explained earlier, we have these parameters, shape, inputs, these inputs, attributes, and everything. Okay, so this is all where you can find your nodes. So in the middle here, this is your like a sketchbook. Okay, this is where you place your node. You have the option to drag this one as well. If you want bigger 3D view, or the live preview is here, if you want to see it in a bigger screen, then you just drag this. Okay, drag this line. Okay, again, as I mentioned, we have this automatic and manual here. Okay, so maybe let's start with the basics. Okay, actually this is very simple. You could always, okay, there's a question, can you split those view? No, this is inside. You can't really separate this view. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna get some basic shapes here. You could always double click this one. Okay, double click and it will pop out here. Okay, and you have the option also to double click the editor canvas and it will give me the search function. Okay, for example, I'll double click this canvas and it gives me the search. Okay, I could try to search for block. Okay, it's the same when I click this one, so it's the same. Okay, so navigation wise it's the same. If you zoom in, zoom out, it's the same as any other software. So here, if you use Archicad, so it's also the same. Just hold the shift key to rotate. Okay, so hold the shift key to rotate, and the center mouse, of course. Okay, yep. Let me delete this block. So I have one here. Okay, so I have one here, just a block. So let's try to manipulate and adjust the sizing. Okay, so here in the node we have size X, size Y, and size Z. So for this exercise, I'm going to use the 3 major dimension, which is this one. Try to use this length here. Okay, and simply just connect to this node. Okay, that's it. Okay, let me try. Okay, so the dimension 1 is here. Now how to edit the value inside. Actually, if you use this 3 major dimension in PARAM-O, you could actually access here. Okay, so let's try to modify. Again, this is in meters, that's why the value is like that. Okay, so let's meters, then looks like this. Okay, and you have the option to click the plus sign as well. Okay, yep, so it's up to you. So I'm gonna set it to 5 meters just for example. Okay, then next one will be dimension 2. If I click dimension 2, put it here. Now I'm gonna manipulate or adjust the size of Y. Okay, again, click this little dot here and connect to Y. Okay, again, there's nothing happening here because I haven't adjusted the size yet. Okay, so I have the option to type in or just click this plus button here. Okay, now you can see it's adjusting. Okay, so again, the last one would be the set value, which is the height. Okay, just double click this height and then drag and drop and place it to the set value. Okay, now let's try to adjust the height and move it up. Okay, this is how simple to create an object using PARAM-O. For those who really know Archicad, you really need to write this one in Visual Script. Okay, so this is the 3 major dimensions. Okay, then let's try to load this one. Before I continue, I want to show you how to load this object first. Okay, so if let's say I'm done, just click OK, and then PARAM-O will ask what is the name of the object. So I'll just name this one as okay, click OK. Then you notice it went through the PARAM-O manager. Now I have this test box. As you can see, I have this one here. stated is new. Okay, so if you click OK, then Archicad will tell me your objects are ready in the embedded library. So again, I did mention this. So all objects created in PARAM-O will go directly to embedded library. Okay. Okay. Now time to use your object. Okay. Go to object. Okay. Then see, this is my desk. Here, just for example, and I go to 3D view. Okay, now I can see my object here. Okay, understand the settings first. Okay, click the object and go to the settings. And now I have this text box, right? So I did mention about the dimension 1 and 2. So this is the one. Okay, this is dimension 1, dimension 2, and the height. Okay, now I have the settings that I could easily adjust if I wanted to. So you notice here the custom settings grayed out because I haven't created the custom parameters yet. Okay, I want you guys to take note on this one. If you haven't created any parameters yet, this will be grayed out. Click OK and see how the object. Okay, the advantage of using the three major dimension in Archicad or PARAM-O, you will be having this option to stretch. Okay, you will be having this tool like stretch the whole thing. Okay, like resize, not really stretch, it's like resize. Okay, but of course if you use other parameters, you don't have this option. Okay, I'll show you later if you use the numbers. Okay, but of course if you use the three major dimension, you will be having this option to move around. Okay, it's built in. Okay, let's try again and go inside the PARAM-O manager. Okay, now this one is existing. Okay, so let's click and try to duplicate. Okay, then maybe I'm okay with the naming. Now you notice it's new, right? Okay, let's try to edit the new object. Edit. Okay, now I have this object again. Now I want to apply more parameters. For example, surfaces. I want to change the material. Okay, I have this option here under attributes. So let's try this surface. So double click and it will be placed here. Again, you have the option to search for it or double click here in the panel. Okay, to delete the node, just select the node. Okay, right click and you have this option, delete node. So if let's say I want to search here in my editor canvas, just double click and it will give me this search dialog box. Okay, let's type in the surface and now I see it. Okay, so it's the same. So here you can actually set the material first before you connect, so it's up to you. You could just quickly connect this one and then modify the settings. Okay, that's one option, but of course you could always change it before you connect. Okay, let me disconnect this one first. Click surface, right click and disconnect. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect the surface first and then let's try to modify the values inside. Okay, for example this one. Okay, so pay attention on the node settings. Okay, you can always change the surfaces, all the values here. This is very Archicad surfaces or option. Again, best practice is always name your node. Okay, naming the node, actually this is not your Archicad parameter. This is for your reference inside PARAM-O. So for example, this is my box surface, just for example. Okay, then I can also use this one for my parameter name. Okay, by default, the parameter create parameter is false. That means you can't see this one inside Archicad. Just like what I showed you earlier, it's the custom setting is grayed out. So let me change this one to true. Okay. Then let's change the parameter name. So maybe I'll use the same name, box surface, the box material. Then click OK. Now you notice my node name change. Okay. Now I could now drag this one and connect to the surface. Then I have it. Okay. Let's take a look in the Archicad. I'll just click OK. And then again, remember I duplicated. Now it's just box number 2 and I click OK. Again, Archicad will inform me that your object has been saved inside embedded library. Okay, so this object is test box number 1. I'm gonna use the other object. Okay, let's go find it. Okay, so here in the embedded library, it will automatically create a folder for you, which is the PARAM-O. Okay, so this is what I mentioned. Once you create an object, it will create a new folder for you, and then all the object will be saved there. Okay, for example, this one. Okay, you see the settings, right? Now I have these custom parameters, custom settings. If I click, I can now access the custom setting. Let's say I want to click OK in place, compare. Okay, let's move this one out. Here. Oh, sorry, I replace it. So let me place another object to compare. Okay, let me get the first one. Place it here. Okay, so what's the difference now? This one has custom parameters inside. This one is not. Okay. Okay, if I click the settings, now you can see I have a custom parameters that I could change. Okay, this one doesn't have any custom parameters. That's why the custom setting is grayed out. Okay, just take note on that. Okay, let's modify the object some more. Okay, let me open up my PARAM-O manager. Okay, then modify this text box number 2. Let's just click edit. Okay, then I have it again. Okay, so I have this main parameters or main dimension of Archicad. Now I have the surface. Now let's try to use transformation. Okay, let me check here what I can use. Yeah, maybe try to use the move tool. Okay, click move. Okay, let's try to move this object away. Okay, so click this one and place it in your transformation. Okay, so the value here, we can always use this value here. We can actually reuse this one. Just for example, I'm gonna reuse this and place it somewhere like this, or I can also reuse this here, or I have the option to create the inputs. Okay, so we have this input here. Again, we have this number. Okay, let's try to use the number and place it the offset value here. Okay, could always double click. Again, make sure you name your node, and then if you want to set as custom parameters, then just click true. Okay, let's try. Okay, I'll just click this one to true, and then this is a new variables. Maybe I'll just name this one as okay, then we have this option step and the value. Okay, if I click OK, or maybe I'll change the value, maybe make this one as 3 and up. Okay, so this is a new parameter. Then I'll just click OK. Okay, and then let's double check the object. Okay, now it's offset up. Okay, if I click this one, then I have another here. Okay, this one. This is how PARAM-O works. This is the very basic of PARAM-O. Okay, yeah. Let me try to import an object. Okay, let's say I have the PARAM-O inside my folder. Let me open up. Okay, let's use this PARAM-O manager. Then let's try to import from file. Okay, yep, so we have this sample file done by GDAM. Okay, let me try this LED light and open it up. Okay, so then it will ask me when an object already exists, you want to create or override, because I already have one here. So Archicad, PARAM-O will ask me to override or create a new one. So I'll just override the existing and click OK. Now I have it here. You notice it's modified. Okay. Let me click and edit this one and go check the object GDAM created. Okay. So this is how GDAM created the lamp. Later, we will pass this object to Jorge from Ensign, and he will do all the magics. Okay, so this is how GDAM create the object. Actually, it really depends on the user. I can create a similar object like this, but in different way. Okay, maybe I'll show you. Okay, let me close this one. Then I will try to recreate this object using a different method or way. Okay, let me create a new one. Okay, so let's try to create another object. So I will start with cylinder. Okay, double click. Now I have this cylinder here. Okay, the first thing that I need to do is to modify the sizes. So maybe I will use the main dimension in Archicad, which is the height. Okay, yep, so let me connect this one to the height. Okay, so again, nothing happens here. It's because the size is still 1 meter. So let me adjust this one. Just for example, I'm gonna use 4 meters. Okay, then the radius is too big. Then I'm gonna use number this time. Okay, or maybe integer. Okay. Okay, click and connect. Then edit the integer. Okay, so the value is 1. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna use an integer because I want to make it very, very small. Sorry about that. Let's click the node, right click, and delete. Okay, I'm gonna use number because I want to really make this cylinder smaller, or the diameter will be small, because this will be my metal rod. Okay, for my light. Okay, so double click. Okay, again, best practice to name it. Let's name this one as rod. I'll try to create a pendant light, the one that GDAM did, but in a different way. Almost the same node. Okay, so yep, copy the metal rod name because I'm gonna use the same name, metal rod. Okay, and I'll put in radius. Then of course make sure you click create parameter, because I want to adjust the parameter later on. Okay, so maybe I'll use a 0.001 for the metal rod. Again, this is meters, but inside Archicad is mm. Okay, so I'm happy with my settings and I click OK. Then let's try to connect this here. Okay, this is my 10 mm metal rod diameter in 4 meters. Okay, maybe I'll just arrange this one properly. So I'm happy with my settings here. The next step that I would do is create another cylinder for my light. Okay, so let's create another cylinder. Then you notice it goes here. Okay, so I want my cylinder or my light to be in the negative value. Okay, maybe I'll just move this one up here. Okay, let's start to move the metal rod first, which is this one. I know it's very thin. Okay, it's here, so let me move this one down first. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is use the move. Okay, now I'm gonna set the value to transformation. Okay, so let's try to create a number again, or use a number node again. Okay, then set this value to negative. Okay, this time I'm not gonna use parameters. Okay, yep, now you notice my object goes negative value here. Okay, then the next, I'm happy with the location. Then next step would be this one. Okay, this will be my light. Okay, let's try to do the same process. Okay, yep, you could actually select this two. Oh, you can't select two here. Yeah, just pressing the control key to select nodes, right click and copy nodes, then paste it here. Right click again and paste the nodes. Now I have two nodes here. Okay, and then I could just put this height here. Okay, now it goes, I don't know where it goes. Let me double check again, because I used the height, not the transformation, so I made a mistake. So click this cylinder, right click and disconnect. Okay, let me place this one in the transformation. Okay, now it's okay. Now it goes down here. So actually I can reuse this number. This is the offset value. I can use the same value and place it in the set value. Okay, so this is the same. So when I adjust, it follows. Okay, so again, now I'm missing out with the settings here. This is my light. This is my LED light. I need to again rename the node first so that I will not get confused. First thing I'm gonna rename is the metal rod. Okay, just making sure I rename the node correctly. Then this would be my LED. Okay, yep, now left with height and radius. Okay, let me get a number here again. Okay, and place it here. Yep, this will be my height. Then let's change the value. Okay, but this time I'm gonna use this one as my custom parameters, so I need to name it properly. Okay, so click this one as true, and I'll copy this name and place it here as parameter name and type in the height. Okay, we check, maybe the value is around 100 mm and I click OK. Yep, that's the height I wanted. So now my node is a bit messy now. This is a good time to group your node. Okay, let me arrange it first like this. Okay, you can actually group these two. Okay, with a new group, and then I have it here. Okay, then this one I will group it as well. Okay, here. Okay, so now only left with the radius. So I'm going to create a new number now. Okay, then set this as LED radius. Okay, paste. Yeah, of course, I want to create a new parameter and then name the parameter. Then this time I'm going to use point 4 maybe. Oops. 4, 4.5. Then click this radius inside here. Okay, wrong. This is 400. It's too big. I want 0.04 or 5. Okay, now I have a proper light here. Again, this is a schematic design, so it looks like this. Okay, so I have the option actually to add this one inside my group, but let me check how to do that. Right click, grouping, and then I have this group. Okay, add to group. Oops, I choose the wrong one. Right click on top, and this. Okay, that is how you add the new node into the group. Okay, so now I have this one, then just change the material maybe. Okay, so I don't have surface here yet, so let me try to create a new one. Okay, click the surface. Okay, double click. So best practice is to name it. So let's name this one as the metal. Okay, and copy paste this here, parameter name, and then set the value to true. Okay, let's choose material here. Any material will do. Let me check this one, metal. Okay, now I have these surfaces. Just connect it to the surface. Okay, notice the material change. Okay, yes, to let me adjust this one. Okay, yep, that's it. And then here I also wanted to create another parameter or material for the LED. So just name this one as LED material. Okay, copy paste this one, set the values true, parameter name, material, and then choose the material. Okay, I'll be using the lamp material, click OK, then connect. Okay, now you notice the material change. Okay, I'm happy with my simple object. I can actually pass this one to my friend in Enzyme and use it. Okay, I'll name this one as the size. Okay, and then click OK. So again, Archicad will inform me that we have successfully created an object and it saves inside embedded library. Okay, select the object here. Now I have this fireflies. Now you notice we have the light parameter, we have the material, light radius, we have the metal rod material and the radius. Okay, the height of the rod is this one. I'm using the main dimension. Okay, let's click OK and place it. Okay, yep, I don't know what now. So again. Click OK. It's here. It's too small. Sorry. Okay. Yes. And then zoom in. Yep. Okay. So now when I click this object and go to the settings, again, we have this custom parameters inside that you can play around. Okay, so that's it for the basic PARAM-O. So this object, later you'll see it, and Sam will be using it for his Grasshopper connection or automation. Okay, so I'm going to show you some advanced advanced object done by HQ team. So I will just try to explain what are the nodes they use. Okay, let me play this one. Okay, can you see my screen? Yep. Okay, so here what they're trying to do is create a simple stairs or step. So again, you could always double click the editor canvas and then select the dimensions. Okay, here they're explaining that we have two views, which is the live view here and the editor. Okay, maybe I'll fast forward this one a little bit. Okay, yeah, there. So they use block. Okay, just double click this block and then it will show here. So that's the same process what I did earlier. Okay, I'll try to see if I could move this. Yeah, okay. I'll try to fast forward a little bit because I did show you this method already, but this time I'm gonna stop here, and then what they use is number series. Okay, they use the number series, and you have the option to set the value here and the step. Okay, this is the integer. Okay, and this is the number series, sorry. Okay, so they use integer and place it inside counts and then adjust the settings of the number series. Okay, you could actually start 00 or set the count to 10 and then place it to X. Okay, so what's gonna happen if you connect this one to your object. Okay, transformation, and now the block is multiplied by 10. Okay, so this is 10 object. Okay, then they created another number series, but this time they use 0.2 to start, 200, and then the step is 2.2 again, and they use the same integer. Okay, number. Let's see what's gonna happen. They place it in the set value. Okay, this is a very basic object creation or stair creation. Okay, let's fast forward this one a little bit. Okay, yep, they set the visibility, surface, and everything until they reach this stage. Okay, yep. Okay, again, if you created a custom settings, it will go to these custom settings. I mean, if you created a custom parameter, it will go to the custom settings. Yep, you could always adjust it. And this one is the sample table they have. So this is a bit interesting. Again, this is very similar to other software like parametric object or Revit family. So again, here they created an object using the 3 major dimension. This is the one that I mentioned. If you use this 3 major dimension, you will be having an option to rescale, resize, and move. Okay, let me show you here. Now you see this little node here. Okay, now we have this special palette here. It will automatically compute for you if you use the 3 major dimension. Okay, let's see what's going to happen to the object. We have this node available if you use the 3 major dimension. Okay, take note on that. because sometimes when you create an object and you just use the number or integer, you will not be having this point. Okay. Yep, that is for the table. I'm going to give you some very interesting object here. Well, this is my favorite. Okay, let me fast forward the boring part. I know this is a very boring object. Let me show you something really cool. Yep. Okay, so intelligent sun shading. Okay, so now we have this sample here, which is the object sun shading. Okay, so this is not a normal sun shading device that you need to manually rotate the shading. Okay, like this is the manual process. Okay, it moves, yes, but it's not really intelligent. So what we can do is use the global value inside Archicad. Okay, later they will show the global value inside. Okay, let me fast forward this one a little bit. Okay, hold on. Yep, so actually you can create this one, but this is manual process. If you want to really automate the object, we have, okay, yep, correct. So again, yes, okay, just type in the global value and you have this option, global, and look for sun altitude. Okay, so for this example, they use sun altitude to get the rotation of the pins, okay, the sun shading device. So they get the sun altitude connected to the rotation of Z. Okay, see what happened? It updates. Okay, so it really depends on the altitude of the sun. They have this video here. Let me place the object first. They have some sample video. When you move the sun path, it follows the angle. Okay, let me show you the video that they did to test out the object. Yep, okay, this one. Yeah, so they want to test out the object. They place the sun shading device and you see the time, right? And now you see the object changes. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna rewind this one a little bit because it's too fast. Okay, just pay attention on the timing here. Okay, and the object. It changes. Okay, this is for the advanced user again. So this is the shading device, which is really intelligent. It automatically follows the sun altitude and convert it into angle. Okay, so that is how sun shading device work. Okay. Yep. So the next step would be the next object would be the object distribution. Okay, this is again for advanced user. Okay, we have this extra node in PARAM-O that you could use. Okay, so what we have here, we have this grid and the circle. We'll try to distribute using this GDL object. Okay, yep, so GDL object. This is the one that I mentioned that you could actually call an object inside Archicad using this tool. Okay, so if you go to the settings, you need to choose what type of object you want to call. For example, here they choose a chair. So they use the object name chair. So this is actually a built-in object inside Archicad. Then you can call the parameter of the chair here. Okay, so that means I'm using the armchair, then get the parameters inside. Okay, for this exercise, they want to use the height of the chair, I think. Yep. So again, this is existing object inside Archicad. They call it and then get all the parameters inside. Okay, so they use the height, then click OK. now I have the chair inside. So again, we call the object inside the library and then get the parameters of that object. Okay, and they use this transformation grid. Now I have this properly distributed based on the grid. Okay. Yep, and then what you can always change the settings here. For example, you want to change the parameter B, C, and D, but we don't have it yet. We only have parameter A, which is the height, I think. Yep, so that's why all the chair height changes, because we took the parameter height in that object. Okay, so that is one of the advanced feature here. Okay, they place the object, and then next object would be the perforated panel. Okay, this time it's using the shape, I think. Okay, so they created this perforated panel. Okay, every holes there has their own GUID. So I think this exercise they use the random series, so it will automatically create a random numbers for you, and it will create this pattern. Okay, so remember all the holes here has their own GUID. That means it's unique. A few of them, of course, is similar. Yep. So and then they use this random number. Okay, which is this one. Okay. Yeah, so this is how they manipulate all the designs or all the openings inside. Okay, let me pass forward this one a little bit, and then they will place the object again. It goes inside the embedded library. Okay, then actually they edited the object and then set the subtype. Again, this is the advanced part. So they click the object and open the object to GDL editor, and then they change the subtype to opening. Okay. Apparently, we can't change the subtype, I think, inside the PARAM-O yet, but there's still a lot of working in progress. Okay. Yep. So they change the subtype to opening. So when they use a wall, it will automatically create an opening here. Okay, let me fast forward a little bit, and then they will use the object and then stretch this one until it touches the wall. Yep. Okay. Again, this is a opening object. We edited the subtype inside the GDL. Yep. So they just copy and multiply it. Okay, so the last part would be GDL shapes and profile. So this is very basic. So we have this extra again, extra node, then they use a GDL shape. Okay, but this time, this is the one that I mentioned. Let me pause this one a little bit. Yep. Okay, you see this portion? This is where you can actually write a script. Okay, if you want to create a complex shape without using the default shapes we have here in PARAM-O, you can actually write a script. Again, this is for advanced user. Yep. And then, of course, you can always use profiles. Okay, let me check. I think they're going to use profile here to extrude. Yep. So we have this extrude under the shapes, and then they will change the profile. Okay. So they already created the profile inside. So for those Archicad user, you know how to create profile already. But for those who don't, in Archicad, we have this profile that you could use to extrude or apply to any objects like column, for example, beam, slabs. Yep. I think That's the end of the video. Yep. Okay. Time 12:30 is too early, but yeah, that's the end of my presentation actually. Unless you have any other questions or any questions.
Hi, Carlo. Yeah.
Yep.
So there was one question, the last one. Is like, can we use formulas inside PARAM-O to do calculations?
Yep, you can use
So
the mathematical operations inside.
can you show those notes for Chandra from SJ?
Okay, let me check again here. So, okay, let's try to edit. Okay, let's create new. Okay, so we do have here. So we have lots of mathematical operation here. Yep, if you click the node and then you have this A and B. Okay, so there's a lot here. Actually, using the expression is here. As you mentioned about expression, it's here. Okay, it's a simplified version of expression.
Okay, so Chandra, to a certain extent, you can actually don't need to do GDL coding. GDL is for another option, but you can actually do some mathematical things inside. Yeah, conditional statements is also available. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
You have conditional statements also.
Yep.
Okay. And there is another question from Leonardo. Is there any connection between PARAM-O and the library part maker? Library part maker is a separate add-on that is to create objects with a 3 level of details. It is a kind of like a graphical way of creating the library also, the library part maker. But PARAM-O is the is kind of like new direction to move forward on creating the objects without GDL scripting. I think it's a long time wish for many Archicad users to do objects without scripting, right?
It's
Yep,
it's just
Marcelo,
a
you want to add?
different
Yeah.
approach. Yeah, it's just a different approach. So now it's following more this trend of the node-based editing. For those who want to use, it's always good to know GDL because you can fully explore the capabilities of Archicad if you know GDL. What we believe that is going to happen is that more and more this PARAM-O will have all the functions that GDL will have or close to it, so that we can program more and more. But this is still very object based. So uh, even this library part maker is a very graphical way of generating geometry. So basically, you model the geometry, then you have the different levels of information that you want to have for those objects. This PARAM-O is a totally different approach. So I wouldn't say that one should totally replace the other, because I think some users will still like the library part maker approach, but this clearly opens up the possibilities to a lot more things. So Chandra is asking, will PARAM-O replace GDL? Well, since it's GDL based, I think what
It
will
creates
probably
a GDL. It creates GDL scripts actually.
yeah,
So it's like a automating the way how people write a GDL script instead of
Yep. Yep.
asking people to write. We are giving it node-based or kind of like a easier interface for people
yeah,
to create the object. Yeah.
yeah,
So still the end result is actually a GDL object.
GDL, yes.
yeah. But it's easier to digest, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So basically, we can use this method to get more people on board with the GDL creation. well, I speak for myself as well, because I'm not very comfortable with the GDL way of programming, just writing the code. And this way, I think that I'm more enticed to work with it. So it's a matter of user interface and making it user friendly.
Yeah, there is another question
Question.
from
Yeah.
Ricky just went up. Can specify additional hotspots. At the moment, there is no option yet to handle hotspots. Ricky, first time when I see this demo from the developers, my question was also the same. Can I have hotspots? Can I have the graphical editable hotspots? That's my first question as well. But the answer is yeah. In the future, there may be a possibility, but at the moment, no. Yeah, so we can still ask for some help, and hopefully we can have it in the future. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, there's another question. I think here is, how about Python to create GDL object? From Jorge. I'm not really sure if you could do that, but of course you could place an object. I think you can create last time. In AC23, you can create an object using Python.
I shared Python to create a GDL object.
But not GDL object, it's just placing a mark.
No,
I
placing
saw,
object, yeah.
yeah, I saw that in the AC23, but I'm not really sure about this AC24. But
But
not GDL.
if Jorge want to do it, what he can do is do Python scripting inside Grasshopper. That will allow you to save a GDL object at the end of the day. Actually, I just shared a link on the chat earlier. You can create from Grasshopper GDL objects, right? So, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah. We are giving multiple options. Of course, as the users use it more and more, I think Graphisoft will put effort to continue and improve that part, which users are asking more. That normally happens. Okay. So RJ, you mentioned hardcore GTL programmer. Is that you? I guess you, right?
Yeah, I think now it's easier to create an object because everything is visual.
Yeah.
But of course, there is some limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, with the GDL knowledge, you can do even more. Yeah.
Okay, there's another question. Can you save PARAM-O object as an external library that could be loaded to the BIM load? Yes, of course. You could always export and save the object. Yeah.
You can because all this PARAM-O script, whatever Carlos shown, is stored inside the
Embed.
GSM file. So you can actually save as a GSM file and give it to people, and
Yep.
it can be loaded into your BIM cloud, or you can create a LCF file together with that, and people can use without PARAM-O add-on, right, Carlo?
Yep, that's true.
Okay, let's go on. Ricky was saying that maybe something for the
So,
wish list.
resolve.
Solve parameter.
Yeah.
Be good control. Thanks. We will bring it up.
Yep.
Okay. So that will help you out. We can bring it up. And RJ is asking, how can you scale a block from center? Okay, so this is a bit tricky. If you remember, Carlo is moving the object when he created this lamp. He's moving the object to the to the negative value to show that, because it is hang from the wire from the top of it. It's something similar you have to do. You have to move the block by half of the block height to the negative value in all directions, X, Y, Z directions. Then after that, when you try to scale it, it should scale in a thing. So it depends on when you apply the transformation, before
Yep.
or after, right? So then you can actually scale it from the center.
So we do have transformation here, scale, and then scale shape we have 2 actually with the coordinates.
Can you explain the difference between the two?
So this one is scale. Okay, let me try this one. The
scale shape will make a copy, right?
Yep.
You have to do it after the block. You had to do this. You had to pass the block to the scale shape. Yeah. Then you put the values. Then it will make a copy of it.
Okay, let's use the same value. Let's try this one. Number. Okay, let me range and maybe the height. Okay. Let's make this one. And let's see what's gonna happen. It scales on the set value. So it means it scales on the set value. Okay, if you want to rescale all, then you could just put it here. Yep.
So there will be 2 of them, 2 shapes here. If you do the transformation to the other object and move it off, I don't know whether you can see, or can you change the material to glass for one? Then you can see the other one.
Let me check. Surfaces, attributes here. Okay, let me check. Change the.
No,
this
you
one
can only change for the other block. Yeah.
Here. What happened? Sorry, the pen.
You're putting on the pen.
Yep. Right click, disconnect. All. Yep, it's there. Then change this one to transparent blue. Now you can see down here.
Yeah.
It's okay. As Ajay is mentioning, it is an anchor to the corner. What you want is to the center.
Okay, you can actually move this box on the.
Yeah. Do the transformation to move it to the.
Okay, let's get the move.
Move it by half the dimension 1, half the dimension 2.
Yep.
And half the height.
Okay, so what is this?
What you can do is
no
need to do that. One thing interesting in PARAM-O, right? You can do this. Can I request a control?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so one thing you can do in PARAM-O is you can drag from here parameters. You can actually drag and drop this. Then you get the value here again, right? You can have many instances of dimension 1, right? You don't need to pull out and create them. Yeah, so that will allow you to. Can you hear me, Carlo?
Yep, sorry.
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
So you can add additional parameters. You don't need to use this same node.
Yep, so maybe let's check this one on the. Okay, now we need to move this one, right?
But before you pass the dimension 1 to it, you have to make the size half, divided by 2.
Let's go get the divide here.
Okay, while you are doing, let me answer a few questions here. Yeah, Jorge is asking, can you use PARAM-O objects with Grasshopper? Yes, you can use it. We are going to pass it to you later in your sessions. You're going to show how to use it. I know there's a little bit of modification need to be done. I think you are the best person to explain that part. I'll leave it to you. Yeah. So make sure we will come back after lunch to listen to Jorge to see how to use it in the Grasshopper. Is that right? Okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
I think that question is to launch the appetite for the afternoon session. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think after my boring presentation, now seeing the real action with Carlo and Jorge is where the fun is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Leonardo is asking, when distributing standard library objects, will the result be one GDF object from the group, or will the individual objects remain as a single objects? Okay.
Yeah.
For each PARAM-O code, this set of code, there will be one object. Even you have groups or whatever you do inside there, it will become as one object. So I don't know whether I answer your question.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the question. Even the example that I showed before,
yeah,
there was multiple
yeah,
rebars, right?
yeah, that will
Uh,
become as one object
yeah,
actually.
we can have the parameter there that when we list, it says how many rebars it has. So
Yeah,
it can be scheduled with that parameter.
yeah,
But the whole element composed of multiple elements is one object.
yeah, yeah. So if you don't want to see the first block, you can turn off the visibility. Yes, there is actually a visibility option to turn off the first one.
Yeah.
Ricky, you can turn off. How color? Do you manage to
Yep.
get it?
Yep. Yep. It's here. Yep. So we placed it in the middle.
So now it's in the middle, right? Yeah. All right, Ajay, you know how to get it. It's
Yeah.
basically dividing it by half and then passing that
Yeah, but
values to it.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you divide it in half, but if I want to scale on the fly,
Mm,
basically just move the box into the center of
yeah,
the.
yeah. There is no axis control. You cannot say that, move the axis from here to here, then you
Yeah,
do the scaling.
yeah,
That's not available yet.
okay,
But you have to plan how you're going to do the object.
I
So
see.
there should be some planning involved. It's
Yep.
not, on the fly, you cannot do it.
Right,
You
right.
need to plan, like even for these slides we were discussing for a while, and then we try to do this firefly lights. You will see the end result, and then right, you have to come back for the afternoon session and listen from
Okay.
Jorge how he's going to use this light.
Oh, of course.
uh, but like it's a very small PARAM-O object, but when you use it together with Grasshopper and use it on the actual project, it is really, really beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
come back to see it.
sure.
Mm,
Thanks.
okay.
Yeah, I think we can wrap up the
You
session
sure?
then.
Can you do that? Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks, Slow.
and so guys, we'll be back in a bit over 1 hour. So we start the second part of the session at 2 p.m. As I mentioned, let me flash the agenda again. Um, so let me share my screen. So as I mentioned, the workflow we're going to go through today. So we start with PARAM-O, and this is the session that Carlo just went through with us to show how we can make the object that will later be manipulated in Grasshopper. So at 2 p.m. we meet up here. We see Jorge creating the script with the logic to place the elements on the Archicad model. And after that, Carlo will go back to Archicad using the Python script and make sure that it will run a script or a code for auto labeling of the placed elements in Archicad so that we don't have to do this repetitive tasks inside Archicad. So stay tuned. Looking forward to see you guys here at 2 p.m. And I hope this session was informative and it wasn't too heavy. And we really appreciate your questions so that it makes this more interactive. So I think we can resume now and be back at 2 p.m. then.
Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to thank BCA and Pong for coming out with this excellent idea and allowing us to organize this. Thanks, Pong and BCA for this.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you, everyone. We will see you at 2 p.m. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks. Okay.
Of course.
Maslow, you want me to share my screen? I have a slide to
Okay.
show resume